How about that? Oh man, this is fantastic. Greetings, everyone. Jacque Howard here, and I'm with
And Regan.
and this is the Doc and Jock Sports Talk Podcast. Having a good time, two friends just chopping it up. We're coming to you from Hub 13, 13 West Front Street in historic downtown Trenton, New Jersey. And Major Look Studios via the Hub 13 network is the production team. So big shout out to those guys. And this is going to be distributed through multiple affiliates, so make sure there's no confusion. This will also be some local radio and television stations, WIMG 1300 and WPHY Channel 25, Verizon Fios Networks in Mercer County, New Jersey. A few shout outs to our new intern who's in the house, Jacque. Hello, sir, and welcome to your first day of work. And Jacque is going to be a paid intern with Hub 13 and what's happening here via the R.E.A.C.H organization. So big shout out to Jennifer over at the R.E.A.C.H organization for connecting Jacque with us, who's going to be learning lots of different aspects about production, filmmaking, entrepreneurship, as well as civics and being civically engaged. And then also getting a chance to sit in with some of my celebrity friends like Regan here, the comedian. So enough of that stuff out of the way, man. Like enough of the paying the bills. We'll do more of that later on. It has come to that time of the year in the football season when the final game of the NFL is taking place. We are not going to say the SB word here.
It's the bull with a cape on it.
Good one, good one. So we have the Philadelphia Eagles playing the Kansas City Chiefs, or should it say it's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Eagles are going to be the home team, so to speak, in the last game of the season, the big game. With that being said, give me your thoughts on the last couple of weeks of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for spring training now.
Football, you're done with?
Done. As soon as the Eagles beat the Giants, I was done. I was out. This is probably going to be probably one of the better Super Bowls we've had in the last few years. Both teams are, I think they're the two best teams in each right? The number one, right? Kansas City was one,
Yeah.
Eagles were one. Yeah. Yep. So should be good. Both teams deserve to be there. I've heard some. Now, I am a notorious Eagles hater. Just put that out there. But
facts.
And I've read that people are like, oh, the Eagles had an easy schedule. They played the Giants rebuilding. The Eagles deserve to be there. Whether you love them or hate them, they deserve to be there. Kansas City impressed me. I had Cincinnati over Kansas City. Mahomes just did what he does. And so it should be good. Two good teams. And again, my heart, I wanna pick Kansas City. My brain's telling me this. I think this is another Eagles Super Bowl win.
Wow. Well,
excuse me. We have to bleep that.
Oh well, sorry, that was an accident. Maybe we can get a few passes on that. But with that being
said, the bill of Jock.
So with that being said, I love the fact that you are a true fan. And when I say a true fan, like you love the sport, you love the camaraderie and all those things of it, but you're also a realist. You're not that person who's going to come out and say every year my team's going to go undefeated. I'm going to have everybody on the all-star team, all those different things. And you can have an honest conversation telling everyone straight up that he is a notorious Eagles hater. And I can, for the last almost 30 years, I could say that is absolutely 100% true. But on the flip side, I will say that your team, the Giants, man, I don't want to say it was smoke and mirrors, because I think that true leadership, true coaching, all those things can make a difference. And I think Dable did a fantastic job with the Giants, and also with the receiving core that they had in Daniel Jones. I think that you guys have a similar track that the Eagles have. I think it's now up to the front office, it's up to the coaching staff, and then, signing the right free agents. And that's where I give a big up to the general manager of the year, Howie Roseman, because he's done another fantastic job. Two different total organizations, bringing them to the big game. It's a big deal. But I think the Giants and their heritage, their coaching staff, I think you have your quarterback. I'm a fan of Saquon. It would be great if he left for us, but I think that would be sort of foolish if the Giants were to do something along those lines and kind of slide into some sort of a rebuilding process.
Yeah, I'm happy. Like I said before, I'm happy where the Giants are currently at. And that just shows you how valuable coaching is in football. Probably basketball, I would say basketball and football, probably football number one is the most important. The coach is the most important person on that team. because the Giants, I mean, they added a few good guys, but for the most part, this is the same team they had with Joe Judge, with Shermer, with McAdoo, and look at those results. So, and actually this year with Abel, they had no receivers whatsoever. So that just shows you what coaching does to a team. You put the right coach in there, you can make a 6-win team, a 9-10 win team just from coaching. So I'm happy where we're going, but have to wait another year to see where that road takes us, I guess.
Great. So I appreciate that. So also, you spoke about Joe Burrow, and it seemed like he has risen to this level where I don't know. It's almost like he has been given, besides all the nicknames and accolades, he's been given almost like this pass to being the it quarterback for the league, without actually winning a Super Bowl yet. I know that we could have lots of conversations about like how do you compare apples to oranges and things of that nature, and how do you say you're better than someone when you haven't achieved what they have achieved.
Yeah, like Dan Marino is probably the greatest quarterback that's never won a Super Bowl, never won the big game. This is going to take me forever to learn this.
No worries.
But yeah, so Marino is probably the greatest quarterback that's never won. Burrow was on that track too. I really thought he was going this year. But until he wins it, is it fair to say, well, he's not a great quarterback? I don't know. Has he shown us enough in the regular season to say, yeah, he's a great quarterback? I believe he is. But as far as the nicknames go, I agree. When Daniel Jones first came in, they anointed him Danny Dimes, and it makes me cringe. It still makes my skin crawl, even calling him that. Just these nicknames that people come up with, I just think sometimes they're like forced. And you've got the greats. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is going to be what it's all said and done, barring any crazy injuries, end his career early. He's probably going to be one of the greatest ever of all time. I mean, the kid's this is his third Super Bowl now that he's in.
Yes, his third big game. Yes, it is his third big game.
There's gonna be a lot of bleeps.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to jump right in and absolutely and say, yeah, you are correct with that. But I'm talking about it from the position of him being considered better than Patrick Mahomes already. And like, how can you say he is better than when he hasn't again achieved the same level of accolades? I just don't understand how people can be comfortable with that.
A lot of it, I think, is hype. And again, Burrow's a great quarterback. You can see he has it. But to say he's better than Mahomes, what everything Mahomes has accomplished, no, you can't say that yet.
And I think it's also the great marketing of the NFL, with their big game that's coming up between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. But it's also the great marketing that they do. I mean, next thing you know, they'll probably have a big game or a big competition based upon jersey sales, and then entice people to go in and spend more and more money to buy more and more jerseys to support more and more players, or at least break them off a little bit of money, whatever that is. So you said spring training. So we're in the East Coast, so we're in New Jersey currently filming this, and it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold right now, and this time of the year we would always, when we were in our playing days, be getting amped up. We'd be in the batting cage, hitting balls, getting together if the weather was above 40 and, just throwing or whatever. It also brings back spring training. And you mentioned that earlier. I want you to talk about this time of the year for you and like what spring training and baseball means.
Well, I'm a sports junkie when it comes to any kind of professional sports, but baseball is my number one, always has been. So I wait for baseball season, and spring training was always just a special time because like baseball's coming around, man. It's just coming around the corner soon. So spring training was always exciting. Get to see the team, the additions they made, the free agent signings, and seeing how the team looks. And it's funny because back in 2020, I went to my first spring training game in Florida. I'm a Yankees fan, so we went down to Tampa for the Yankees spring training, and we landed and we literally checked into the hotel. I go down to the pool, my wife's on her phone, she said baseball just canceled all the games going because, like I said, it's 2020, COVID just hit. So we had tickets for the next day and then the day after for 2 games back to back, and I didn't get to see spring training. We were allowed to go to the stadium the next day, which was no okay. I got to see the field, and we walked through the gift shop. They don't close that because why would they not want to make money? But yeah, so I never saw a spring training game yet. So that's still on my bucket list to go down to spring training and catch a few games.
Well, I'm making notes here. For any of you guys who know me, I'm a notorious pen and paper kind of guy. I've got these all over the place. So I'm making a notation here. I'm going to try to coordinate something, and maybe we can get down to see a spring training game. Who knows? The Yankees are, not as easily accessible as some of the other organizations in Major League Baseball, but maybe the Yankees, you guys put together a package and get the Doc and Jock Sports Show to come down and do a spring training game and let my man, get a chance to see his favorite team in action. I would even love to see you do to do one of those, when they do what is it, Dream Week?
Oh, see me in them jerseys and those tight pants.
Yeah, you hopefully just don't pull a Chris Christie or anything.
No. I won't be showing anything I'm not supposed to be showing. Believe me. I can't say what I want to say.
All right. So with that being said, can we promise to talk the next time we get together about softball, about our playing days and some of the characters and things that we came across and the relationships we've built, over the decades of playing and, the traveling experiences and all those things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, a lot of road stories too, because we traveled a lot to down south for tournaments and different things. That's where a lot of those stories come from. So, and then some local tournaments as well, just from playing in the league. It was always very easy going, laid back, no intensity, no arguing amongst men. I'm looking at this guy here because he was the leader of talking junk, talking trash.
Yeah, well, that was in a different place in a different time, which is why we're in a studio now, reminiscing. So let's pull together some archives from those paper clippings, and maybe we can go through some of those and talk about how impactful this region, Central New Jersey, was with recreational sports. I mean, we would travel, all over the country, and people would know Mercer County Park. Some of the big names who are on the Trenton Softball Hall of Fame, some of those folks we played against, some of we played with, and probably some of us should be in there as well.
Yeah, I would think so, but
well, we were never quite fitting into the mold of anything.
We never fit in the mold.
So, I mean, with that being said, let's go back and talk a little bit more about baseball, because you're a Yankees fan, I'm a Mets fan, and I think over the last 4 or 5 years, the teams have had success. They've been successful, definitely not to the standpoint that I think their franchises want, or at least their fan bases want. But I'm pleased with where the Mets are. And I've never really heard you complain about where the Yankees were, except for when it was, decades ago. But can you just talk about the two tracks that you think the two teams are on? I'll go first and just say that I think that the Yankees are the Yankees. They're the pinnacle of success as an organization. And I think that they always seem to find a way to at least be in the hunt or be in the conversation at the end of the season. And to me, that shows this consistency, which I think is the most important thing. I'd rather have a team that was always good, always right there, than to have one that's good one year and then not so good, for a longer time, and vice versa.
Yeah, totally agree. I have some problems with this team this year, but they're it would be, well, I won't say nitpicking, but I'm happy where we're at. Could have got rid of Aaron Hicks, but there's a couple guys I would rather not see on the team anymore. But I understand contract and money; it's hard to move guys. It's not like fantasy, sports where you just trade somebody for somebody else. So, yeah, I'm happy. As far as on the other side of the town, the Mets, I think this is probably the best team they've had since probably their World Series team. I think this team's actually better than that World Series team as far as pitching, offense, defense. I think the Mets, this is their time. So I think they're going to be coming out of the NL for sure.
Fantastic. And let's transition and talk about the NBA. You guys, the New York Knickerbockers, took a rough loss last night.
Yeah,
on the Garden.
LeBron
James.
He decided to play last night.
Well, what did Shaq and all them guys say? Basketball doesn't mean anything until March.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
It's a different crop of guys playing now, but injury management and all those other things, they're going to do what they're going to do. But LeBron, I think, is pretty vintage as far as how he's playing right now, and he's doing what he does.
Well, I got him on my fantasy team, so yes, I was disappointed in the Knicks, but I was also glad to see LeBron light it up.
Yeah,
not too much though, because he beat my team, but yeah, I'm happy where the Knicks are at as well. Wish they would have won last night, but the Knicks are. I want to say they're always improving, but they need to get over that hump of just being a contender, which I don't think they're not there yet to be a contender. But a couple more big. I think they need one board. We talked about this last time. That Donovan Mitchell. Had they would have signed him, I think they would have that piece in place to bring other free agents to the team, but. For whatever reason, they didn't want to pull the trigger on the trade. So, but they need one of those, like a playmaker, like a difference kind of player like him. And I think once they get him, they'll have other guys that they can, put in place because Randall's just not that guy. I think Randall's like a good number 2, maybe number 3 on the team. Randall shouldn't be the guy on the team. So until they get a number 1, I don't think they're going to be sniffing the finals anytime soon.
All right, fantastic to hear about that. And transferring over to the Sixers, I like where we are right now. I know the season started slowly, but I think that we're trending in the right way.
You guys miss Ben Simmons?
Who? Okay. Joel Embiid, I think, is playing, stronger. I think he's got a different kind of a mindset, this year. I'm not sure if that's the case or just the results are different. And I think that the true grit of why we signed PJ Tucker, Montrezl Harrell, not Melton, Melton signed Melton as well. And I think that has added some toughness, which is I think is going to be what we need, throughout the playoffs. But then there's also I think the NBA more than any other, the cream always rises to the top. Like you can have teams that can go on runs for a game or two, but the season's so long that by the time March rolls around, who's good and who's not. And those teams that are good, they just settle into their form and do what they're going to do. And I'm looking forward to see where that is.
Yeah. Should be interesting because I don't think Brooklyn is anywhere the team that they were. And being, now our crosstown rival, I would like to see any other team besides Brooklyn in the finals for sure. So coming out of the East is kind of wide open right now. The West, I don't really. It's hard to say who's coming out of the West. The Suns are really good. I know that, but it's tough to say. It's going to be interesting. You said March. The teams that should be there will be there. I just hope the Knicks are somewhere in the mix. That's all.
Oh man, awesome. All right. So with that being said, the next time we get together, we can tell the folks that they will be able to talk some recreation softball. Maybe I'll reach out to the Trenton Softball Hall of Fame and have them, tune in or something like that.
Get your checkbook out.
We'll see about that. So anything you want to say in closing out?
Eventually we're gonna have a segment. I was gonna tell you about the things that annoy us as far as driving.
Okay. All right.
I thought of that coming over.
All right, so why don't we put that on the docket for next time we chat? We'll talk about local sports and things that annoy you while we're driving.
While we're driving, sounds good.
Great. Now, I also want you to do one more thing before we finish up, and that's direct people over to your social page where you are posting on a regular basis some of the funniest jokes around. So funny that they've been retweeted by Snoop Dogg and others.
Right now, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Dan_Regan REGAN_comedy. That's on Instagram and Facebook. And on Twitter, it's social_mime MIME.
Fantastic. Dan Regan, and I'm Jacque Howard for Doc and Jock, two friends talking sports. Thanks until the next time. Thank you so much.
Take care.